Alright, hey YouTube, I'm here for part 3 of my server tutorial. If you haven't seen it, I recorded it a little while ago, and it's telling you how to turn one of your old computers into a media server. On part 2, I left off with a little bit of stuff unsaid, like I didn't tell you how to update the server when you add more files, because sometimes it doesn't automatically update. Also, I didn't tell you guys how to, what was the other thing? Make it run at startup, because sometimes it wouldn't actually start up. Alright. So we're going to go over those two things now, and also I'm going to show you how to remote control your server from a Windows computer. Because as you remember, if you saw the other two videos, if you haven't, just go ahead and go watch them. I'll probably have a link somewhere. Alright, so if you do not want to sign into your Linux server, and you want to be able to control it and add files from your Windows machine, you can do that. You don't need a flash drive, you don't need to even have a monitor hooked up to that computer. The only thing you'll need is that computer's IP address. I will show you how to find that in a second, but I will also show you an easier way to look that up. Once you have it once, you pretty much won't ever need to remember it. I mean, it sometimes changes the server, but basically, once you know the IP address, you're set to go. So, I know what the IP address of mine is. The easiest way to find out the IP address is the fastest way will be to open up the server one more time, like just manually walk up to it, hook up a monitor or whatever, and then if I turn off my phone. Okay, once you are at your server, let's pretend this is the terminal window. We used this a lot before. This is actually command prompt, but okay, just for explanation. So when you're on your server and you open up the Linux terminal, you type in ifconfig. And then when you press enter, it would list a bunch of settings. Just scroll up and it will tell you your IP address. It should be 4 sections of digits that are like separated by dots. They can be between 1 and 3 digits long, but each of the digits is separated by dots. Alright, now that you have your IP address, if you don't, go find it. I just told you to. Anyway, you'll go to this page right here, and I'll have a link in the description, because I'm not going to try to spell that out here. It takes too long. The two things we'll need is Putty and Pscp. So let's go ahead and get those. I'm going to move this out of the way. I need to see my preview screen. There we go. Alright. So Putty is right here. Let's go ahead and right-click open a new tab, and it should start the download. Okay. You don't have to open a new tab. I just did because I wasn't sure if it was going to open another page. Pscp, I'm just going to click it normally. Alright. Now the easiest thing to do would be to put them in a folder somewhere that you have easy access to. I'm going to make up a new folder in my documents called remote. Have that off screen. Alright. Now if you have Google Chrome, you can literally just drag and drop them out and drag them into the folder. Hold on. You should be able to drag and drop them into the folder. It's not letting me do that, never mind. Alright, so you'll need to copy them from your downloads folder. Here is mine. I have a few things in here. Alright. So this is what you'll have to do normally. Just take them from the downloads folder, drag and drop them to your new folder. Oops, I am bad at copying things. I've recorded this video previously, but I had a whole bunch of more problems with it, so I figure I'll give you guys a quicker and to the point video, even though we're already 3 minutes in. Okay, I'm going to try and make this go a little bit faster. Okay, now that you have these two folders, you're done with the pretty much hard part. So for the remote control part, we'll do that first before we start copying files over, because we'll need to know where the files are going to go. Alright, let's go ahead and run this. Putty will usually ask you this, just turn this off, because you don't want it popping up every single time. Alright. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to establish a session to the server. So in order to do that, you need your name. I'm using the Raspberry Pi for my media server now because it uses up a lot less power than a Linux desktop, even my older computers. And it's nice and small, fits in small places, and it can be powered by USB. So it's really nice. Okay. So the first thing you want to type in this box is your username on the server. So I don't remember if I told you to set something specific as your username, but for the Raspberry Pi, the default user is called Pi. Then you do an @ for just basically what the server is going to be, and then you type in the server's IP address, which for me is 192.168.1. 9. Alright, if you don't want to have, if you're going to plan on accessing the server more than one time, you can actually save the configuration. So I have this stuff typed in here. I'm going to type in media. You don't have to do this if you don't want to save it, but this is the saving part. Media server. Click save, and then later on, if I want to come back in, I can go like this. Open up Putty, click media server, and it double click it is the same thing as connect. So basically, whenever you load up Putty, you can just click on media server, and if you double click it, it'll be the same thing as clicking open when all this stuff's filled in. Take us to here. It'll say like this is the security key. Basically, this makes sure that no one's trying to impersonate your server. It has a special RSA key that is unique to the server, so if someone tries to impersonate it, they have to know that key, or else your computer will be like, wait a second, who's that? And then like that doesn't match the key. Long story, not important for today. We're already 5 minutes in. I'm really bad at making short videos. Password. That should be easy. Hopefully you remember your password. If you don't remember your password and you're still in, still logged into your server, I think you can type in PASSWD, and it would ask you for your, oh, that asks you for your current password. Never mind. I'll have to go into that later. Alright, yeah, I'll forget password reset thing. Alright, so before I was telling you about the ifconfig thing, remember that? This is exactly what it will look like. You should only, unless you have Wi-Fi plugged in, you'll only have one section that has main IP address. This is your loopback, don't worry about this. So ethos, see it says my IP address is 192.168.1.9. Easy. Alright. So the first thing we'll need to do is we'll need to remember where our media files are stored on this. Since this doesn't have a graphical browser, you can't just, right, everything got minimized. You can't just, you know, go and say, oh, here's my files. So the easiest way to do that would be to check your configuration file. If you don't have Nano installed, I love Nano. I like it better than the other text editor. So to install Nano, go sudo apt. I'll explain why we're doing this in a second. Get install Nano. Boom. And then it will search to see if you have it installed already, and it says I already have it installed. You may not. If you don't have it installed, it'll say like press Y for yes, N for no. So you press Y and then enter. It'll install Nano. And why we're using Nano is so we can do this. Let's see if I have it in my history. I've recently typed things. Okay, yeah. Here's the command: sudo Nano, and then you do space between each of them. /etc/minidlna.conf. So just type that in, press enter, and this is your configuration file. Remember this from the other video? According to this, I have my media file stored in /media/video/video. That's an external hard drive hooked up to my Raspberry Pi. Okay, so you can press Control X to close this. We don't need to save anything, so press N for no, and we're back here. Alright, so the next thing we'll want to do is you will want to set up your startup thing to automatically restart minidlna. I've heard some people posting comments in the last video saying that for whatever reason the media server program would not start up when they restarted their computer. So there's an easy way to fix that. Let's see if I can. Okay, it's not in my most recent thing, so I'll show you manually. Sudo Nano, and you only have to do this once. After you do this, you'll never have to worry about retyping this ever again. Every time you restart your server, your media server will always be started up. Alright, so /etc/rc.local, L-O-C-A-L. Boom. And this is the thing that runs every time you start up the computer and log in. So what I did was I added this thing right below, right above here. You can type it in before exit if you want. Oh, I have it in here twice. Okay. Yeah, you don't need a sudo. So basically just do service minidlna and then restart. Just put that in before the exit line. I have it in here twice for whatever reason. Don't put it up top. Alright, so again, just put it in the line before exit. If you don't know how, just press enter, it'll make a new line, just like with a normal text editor. And then it should look, your setup should look like this. And then to save the changes, press Control O, and it'll say like where do you want to save it. Just save it in the same place, and then press Control X. Alright, and now you've updated your thing, so when you restart your server, your media server program should be completely running. Awesome. Alright, the next thing is, if you added a bunch of files and for whatever reason the server program did not pick up the changes, then you'll need to go ahead and run this command. Let's see if I can find it. I don't remember it off the top of my head. This. Sudo minidlna space -v space -r. I'm going to try to have all these commands in the description of this video so you can copy paste them from, if you're watching it on your computer, just copy paste this all in the Putty. Make it so much easier for you guys. Alright, so once you run this, it will, you press enter and it will just go away like this, and it will say like nothing happened. Okay, that's good. Basically what it's doing is the program just stopped, and let's see if I can show you. This is where we had to go before. It gets closed on me. Basically what it would show was it's an empty server right now. It's going through checking all your files that are in your specific server folder and making sure and cataloging them and putting them on the server. So that's good. Alright, now we are done here. The only thing you'll need to remember is where your media server, like I said before, you need to know where your media is stored. So now that you know, we're going to use that in the next part. Alright, for example purposes, I'm going to use this folder. Just leave this open. So basically just type in CD and browse to, and type in the name of the folder you're going to. Let's just say for whatever reason mine was / that thing means home / video. That's not what it actually is, but as I just showed you, but this is just for example. Okay, now if you type in ls, you'll see that I have a video file in there now. I'm going to take that out just for now, just so I can explain, so I can show you the how to copy files over remotely. So or is it rem? I think it is. No, it's not. Okay. All right, I'll show you for a different file. Okay, don't just ignore that part. Okay, so this will, like I said before, ls shows you what's in the folder. And then this is, I'm pretending this is my server folder right now. Yours will be probably like /media / whatever. Whatever that is, just I hope you copied it out. Okay. I'm probably confusing you guys. Okay. So to make it easier, go back here. Scroll down. Highlight this. Where is it? Highlight this. Just the path. I think you should be able to copy it. Yep. If you just right click on it, it automatically copies. Ooh, and then put it a bunch of times here. If you have a bunch of stuff that just got added in, just leave that alone. Don't save it. Control X. Save. No. Alright, once you have a copy of this, if it didn't copy, just type it in someplace else manually so you have a copy of it. And like I said, I'm using this folder instead, home / video, for my example. And now we're going to need to open up command prompt. Again, we opened it before. And we're going to go back to that folder that we had, remote. This time we're copying pscp. Sorry for the disorganization of this video, but we're getting back on track now. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find a video file that we want to copy over. Let's see if I have anything that's not too big. Here we go. I have a 65 megabyte gameplay clip from Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Let's say for whatever reason I wanted to put that on my media server. I mean, why not? I like watching myself play Counter-Strike. Sure, okay. Make sure you have a space in here afterwards, because when you copy it in, when you drag and drop it by default, it won't have a space. So put a space, and then the file you want to copy over to your media server. And now we need to tell it where the server actually is. So to make it easier, we're going to type in our username just like we did when we connected to the server. So like it says here, it says Pi at Raspberry Pi, so that's the name of the server. But anyway, Pi at, and exactly what we used to connect before, 192.168.1.9, like it was before up here. And now we do : and then the path of the video. So if I wanted to put it in my actual server directory, I'd copy this in, and I click paste. But like I said, I'm not using that for example. That's what you would do. For my example, I am using this /home/video. So the directory to that, when you're typing in, you can't use the shortcut for home. Don't worry about that unless your videos are in the home directory. So mine will be /home/pi, which is what this little symbol here represents, /home/pi/video/. That's the folder it's going in. Like I said before, you'll use whatever was in your configuration. This is an example, so I'm using this folder. Now we press enter, and now it's asking us for a password. And now it's copying. So you can do that. You should be able to do it with multiple files. I'll have to check. Alright, let's go ahead and stop that. Okay, now we're going to try the same thing with multiple files. Let's say you have a whole bunch of video files that you just recorded the gameplay of. You can delete the second part, and you'll have leave an empty space on either side of the cursor. So you see it has blah, 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 space, 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 and then where it's storing it. And now you just copy that. Let's do two files this time. We're doing gameplay 02 and this one. Press Control. If you press Control, you can add individual files. Like I have one highlighted. Holding down Control, click this. Now there's two highlighted. Drag and drop it, and hit Enter. Now it's asking us for our password again. You can't actually. It doesn't have asterisks, so it fills in your password, but it won't show you how many digits you have, which is a nice security measure. And there we go. Now it's copying both files. It's doing the first one first, and when this is done, it's doing the second one. We got our speed, how long it will take, and a percentage. Very nice. Alright, so one thing I should have noted was if you're using a Linux or a Macintosh computer, the setup's a little bit different. If you're using a Macintosh computer, you'll have to open up Terminal. I haven't used the Mac in a while, so I don't know exactly where it is, but you should have SSH installed if you have a Mac. Anyway, for Mac and Linux users, you will type in SSH. This is for connecting to the server. Well, while this is just copying, we'll do that. SSH. Oh, look, it's on the second one already. Okay, SSH, and then exactly what we typed in the box before. Pi at Pi at 192.168.1.9. And press enter. And it does the exact same thing as before. We say yes, but I'm just going to cancel it because this is my Raspberry Pi. I don't want to connect to my Raspberry Pi through my Raspberry Pi because that might get me a little bit confused. So that's what you do. To copy files, you do the exact same setup as here, except you will need to use this command, scp. So let's say we wanted to do the exact same command with scp. So we do scp, and then let's just say we drag and drop the file. We can't do that from here. Let's just say I have a file called /home/pi/video. It's /test.avi. Okay. That's where our video is stored. You can probably, with Linux, you should be able to drag and drop. If not, just type in the path to the video. You should know how to do that if you're a Linux user. For Mac, it's the exact same thing. Just type in the path to the video, and then you type in the same thing as we did here. The ending is exactly the same. Pi at rasp. I keep doing that. Sorry. 192.168.1.9. If you want to do a name instead of an IP address, that's a whole different setup. I'm used to doing that. Long story. I might explain that in a later video. Alright. And then the same thing. / where you want to store it. Let's just say, let's use this example now. It's not going to let us copy there because my hard drive is silly, but when you right click, it paste. Okay, right clicks paste. I think Control C would have been copy or something like that, or whatever. Yeah, okay, that's weird. Okay, so let's just say home/video/video. Okay, now we press enter, and it will say the exact same thing again. I didn't accept last time. Host fingerprint, that's what we need to make sure everything's secure. Are you sure you want to connect? Yes, and it'll also ask us for our password, just like it did with this. So it's actually easier on Linux/Mac because you don't have to install these extra programs, but it's easy to do on Windows, it's easy to do on Mac. Either one's pretty easy. Now let's go take a look. It says both files are finished copying. Let's press LS to list the files in the folder. And hey, look, now we have 3 files in there. We were able to remotely copy a file from our Windows computer to our Linux server. And it wasn't that hard. I mean, I spent 20 minutes on that. I know how to make things take a lot longer than they should. Alright, yeah, that should be it. I think that's all I have for this video. Sorry it took so long, guys. I need to work on making shorter videos so it doesn't take you like half a day to do things. But basically, from now on, you want to copy more folders, do the exact same formula. SCP if you're on Linux, PSCP if you're on Windows. Just drag and drop the files in, then type in the path you want to store it at, which should be like just like this. Username at server, and then wherever you want to store it on the thing. If you want to take a file off the media server, you just do the exact opposite. You do SCP or PSCP, and then you do this part first. You do wherever this is, folder, and then you do slash the name, let's say test.avi. And you wouldn't have this part here. Just ignore this part for now, the file name. Let's delete it, make it easier. And then you type in the folder where you want to store it to. Since I'm using Windows on this command prompt, we do C:/. Yeah, let's just copy it. Let's copy it to a different folder. C:/AMD. Yeah, let's do it. Pi:/video. Let's do an actual one, just so I can show you. Gameplay.mp4. Ask us for a password. Boom. I didn't copy it right. And here we go. Now it's copying the file from the media server to our local computer, as you see. It's 0 kilobytes because it's not done copying yet. But yeah, it's pretty easy. You can copy files to your media server. You can take them back off your media server. And you can do it on Windows, Linux, or Mac pretty easily. For Windows, you just need to download 2 programs. And as you see, VLC is still not working for me. I need to figure out what happened with that. But the file would actually play. Okay, I forgot it's encoded weird. But basically, the media file is the exact same size as the other one, so it copies everything and it's good to go. Alright, so I hope you guys had a good day. Sorry for wasting an extra 20 minutes or however long it should have taken to do this, but I hope it answered all your questions. If you have any more questions, post them down below. If you want to learn how to do something else with this media server, just post it below and I'll see if I can make a video about it later on. So I guess I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.